Hello, my name is Megan Majdi. I'm a fourth grade teacher in Lawndale Elementary School District. It is located in southern Los Angeles. I have included my email address along with my Twitter handle in case you wanted to get a hold of me to let me know something, or I do some pretty cool stuff in my classroom if you wanted to check it out on Twitter. This is for the 21st Century Literacy class, and I go over each step of the questions that we were required to answer. And here we go. Does literacy have the same meaning it had in the last century? Do we need a new definition of literacy? In my personal opinion, I do not believe that literacy has the same meaning. Literacy as a term is being used more broadly now. Literacy is now used to cover additional topics. What was just reading and writing now can have new definitions for new concepts. The definition of literacy, according to Google, is competence or knowledge in a specified area. For example, wine literacy cannot be taught in 3 hours. And I'm glad I have your attention now that I'm talking about wine. What is it to be 21st century literate? Which brings us here. I think the literal definition doesn't quite work. To be knowledgeable and competent in operating in the 21st century. However, we all know that with 21st century comes technology. In my opinion, 21st century literacy is knowing how to be a digital citizen. 21st century literacy is knowing online safety and behaving properly digitally. So, how will a new definition of literacy expand the scope of education and reorganize the relationships between traditional academic disciplines? I have been quite successful with implementing 21st century literacy instruction in my fourth grade public school classroom. It has added great value to my language arts lessons, and I have seen many positive consequences. I was able to begin implementing 21st century literacy instruction with the addition of Chromebooks, and each student being allowed to have a Google Drive account. This is really what changed the face and shape of the literacy instruction in my classroom. Before, students would have writing assignments. We would draft them on a paper and then turn that paperwork into me. I would then have to take it home, provide comments, pass it all back out to the appropriate student, and then they would have to erase or squeeze in the revisions or sometimes start all over. This was a lengthy process with lots of wasted time. Students also know that the only people who would see their writing is themselves and myself. This was a limited audience. Now that students can share their Google Doc with myself, I can provide feedback in live time. Teacher feedback is provided on a sidebar and no longer need to squeeze in revisions. They click resolve when they have completed my comments and I get an email notification. Most importantly, students share their document with one another and provide feedback to help enhance their friends' writing. This has greatly strengthened their interest in their writing because their audience has grown and it is no longer a limited view. Another piece of 21st century literacy worth noting is the invent of a platform entitled KidBlog. This has really pushed the students into a new realm of being able to share their ideas, narratives, opinions, and information collected to a more global scale. They understand how to appropriately communicate with others online. We talk about having a digital footprint and being an outstanding digital citizen. Students learn how to engage and when to block or ignore. What are the implications for teacher education and instructional design? Although I think that this is all great now, I did have to learn how to do all of this. This takes a fantastic amount of time and effort. I believe that now that I've invested the time, I will save myself from laborious work in the future of hand grading and lugging around piles of paper. But I had to make this choice myself. We will need to provide teacher support to be successful in implementing 21st century skills in their classroom. We cannot expect this to happen with automaticity. As teachers, we need to rethink our lesson designs. We need to create things to support our curriculum through technology. We need to say goodbye to worksheets and hello to HyperDocs. This is an exciting time to be a teacher and be able to rethink instructional design. What are the prerequisites of 21st century literacy? In my opinion, this is the million-dollar question of how do we make this work in our public school systems. Although the benefits have far outweighed any negative consequences, this does not mean I have not seen any challenges. To start, the ratio of Chromebooks to my students at my school is still not great. We have to share Chromebook carts, and there have been far too many times where I would like to continue a language art lesson, but I cannot because I need to share the cart. In a perfect world, I would have my own Chromebook cart that my students could utilize at any point in my day. Secondly, my students are under the age of 13. This is a widely used age to allow many platforms to begin using their products. I have been trying to work with my school district to have a classroom Twitter that I would monitor to take our lessons and voices to a global scale. I started this process in August, and I have still not convinced my assistant superintendent of its value. He is still nervous about all the what ifs. Lastly, many of my students do not have internets at their home. Checking out Chromebooks is an option in my class. I was donated 8 Chromebooks. However, many students that would like to catch up on work or look into their own interests are not able to because of lack of infrastructure in their homes. A city close to ours has provided free Wi-Fi in their zoning. I would love for this to be an option to our families that cannot afford this luxury, which many would consider a necessity. So I believe we should be also providing internet for all. Thank you very much for looking at my presentation. If you have any questions, once again, you can find me at megan.alyssa@gmail.com or my Twitter handle. If you enjoyed the way the presentation looked, I got this presentation template from a website called Slides Carnival. It is free and they have lots of fun ones. It makes it look very professional and really creative, and it doesn't take a whole lot of work. And all of the photographs and little emoji things were used by another company, and that was called Unsplash. Thank you very much, and I appreciate and look forward to hearing your feedback. Bye-bye.